Hello, everyone. Welcome to Expansive Astrology. I'm Melissa O'Malley, and this is Scorpio season. We are diving right into Scorpio. I hope you're ready. I am so ready for Scorpio season. I'm a Scorpio rising. My partner has Sun, Moon, Mercury, Pluto, and something else, all in Scorpio. So, like, Scorpios all around me. I'm so ready for this. I hope that you are too. Let's just start chatting about it, shall we? Scorpio. So this week I'm going to tell you all about what Scorpio is, what the invitations of Scorpio season bring, how we can start to kind of use the themes of Scorpio to help us grow and evolve and be more empowered and um, more in tune with ourselves. Scorpio is going to be juicy. All right. So, Scorpio is a water sign. It's a fixed water sign ruled by Pluto and Mars. The phrase for Scorpio is I desire. I desire. The symbol Scorpio is symbolized by the scorpion. And Scorpio rules the house of death and rebirth, death, life, and rebirth. So the tarot cards that are associated with Scorpio are the Death card, the Tower card, and the Judgment card, which we're going to talk about in much more detail next week. So, Scorpio season really encourages us to truly drop into the deepest parts of ourselves, the deepest parts of who we are. We're embracing death and release and change. We're shedding a former life in order to welcome in even more strength, more alignment, more authenticity. This season, we're working with themes like attachment and control, connecting with your intuition and the deepest parts of yourself, passion and desire, shamelessness is going to come up this season. Is going to get juicy. So let's talk about all of these different um, the characteristics of what Scorpio is. Like, let's really break it down. So, Scorpio is a water sign, along with Cancer and Pisces. So, Scorpio brings us water energy, known as the source of life, right? Water makes up so much of like our very being, our literal bodies, our being. Water is emotional energy. It is healing and nurturing and can navigate itself through obstacles gently or with great force, right? We all know that when we bottle up our emotions and don't allow them to flow and move and be expressed, they eventually like explode, right? Like a failing dam. When the pressure gets too high, like it can be destructive. Um, Scorpio is water energy, meaning it's emotional and vulnerable and intuitive. So keep water energy in mind throughout the whole next 4 weeks, throughout this whole entire season. What is your relationship like with water energy? How do you manage your own water energy? How do you respond to the water energy that others bring to your world? This is a time to explore that. Now, being a fixed sign, the four fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. The fixed signs are not easily swayed. Their power is in their ability to focus energy really deeply. The fixed signs are associated with firmness and stability and perseverance. So these are the signs that provide structure in our world. They solve problems and lead the way. At the same time, fixed energy is known to be inflexible or stubborn. So, and the confidence and self-assurance that fixed energies can have can absolutely be a gift, or it can be like asinine and rude, right? So just be aware of this. What is your relationship like with fixed energy? Are you a pretty fixed person? Um, or are you more flexible? Are you confident and self assured? Or are you asinine and rude? Keep yourself empowered. So let's chat about the planets. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. Pluto is known as the transformer. The transformer. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. Pluto rules beginnings and endings in life and isn't shy about uncovering what needs to be seen. New life comes from decay and destruction, and Pluto helps to teach us that the things that we lose are never actually lost. Pluto teaches us how to let go of attachment and roll with the punches, the little mini deaths that life throws at us on a regular basis. Pluto helps us to face our fears and our attachments to things and shows us where our vulnerability lies in terms of like our attachments and what we're afraid to lose. Just some deep stuff. Maybe take some time to reflect on that and journal on that. Like, what are those things that you're so attached to and that you're so afraid to lose? It's a theme here. Now, we're not in any way romanticizing death and loss. This is not to say that we're supposed to, or that we're not supposed to, or not allowed to grieve or feel upset when we experience loss. On the contrary, Pluto teaches us how to experience and accept loss, including those like messy, uncomfortable feelings of grief and difficulty with attachment. So, having a really good understanding of Pluto and these themes doesn't mean that you just are detached from things and that you don't care about these like mini deaths that occur or the losses that occur in our lives. It doesn't mean that you don't care. This is about learning how to roll with those punches and learning how to accept loss. And part of that means being in the depths of the pain and the emotions of that. Pluto is also the planet that provides distinction between the generations, which when I first realized or learned that, it blew my mind. I have, I don't have like a list in front of me. I kind of wish I did. My Pluto is in Scorpio, and most millennials have their Pluto in Scorpio. The generation after us has their Pluto in Sagittarius, and I believe like my child who will be born this year should have his Pluto in Capricorn. We're raising Pluto in Capricorn. The generations are defined by Pluto because Pluto moves. That's how slowly it moves from sign to sign to sign. Very, very interesting to consider. Now let's shift and talk about Mars a little bit because Scorpio is also ruled by Mars. Mars is known as the warrior or an initiator. Mars isn't all about like fighting and war and heat. This is the planet of like physical energy and force and aggression and boldness. It's the planet that spurs action. It's all about how we move through the world, how we get things taken care of. Known for governing anger and temperament and passion and adventure, Mars is the fierce protector, fierce protector. So, what are you passionate about? And how do you protect those things? Do you avoid challenges or do you tackle them? Are you a fighter or are you more of a peacekeeper? There's no judgment, there's no right or wrong here, no matter how your Mars energy shows up. By developing a healthy and effective relationship with these things, we become more confident, more healthy, more effective individuals as we get shit done as we move through the world. Scorpio is represented by the scorpion. Like Cancer, who's represented by the crab, Scorpio has a soft, vulnerable, emotional inside. Now, during Cancer season, I kept saying innards. I will refrain from referring to it as our innards, although that does make me giggle. Scorpio has a soft, vulnerable, emotional, intuitive inside, and to protect that, a strong, fierce exoskeleton and like a poisonous tail, right? Scorpions don't hunt. They wait for their prey to come to them. So just something to consider. In ancient Egypt, the scorpion was idolized in the form of Selkit, the scorpion goddess, the protectress of the dead. In Christian tradition, Scorpio symbolizes Satan in the story of the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve are tempted by Satan to give in to their curiosity and their desire, right? Roy Gillette says this act is Satan's revenge for the divine judgment, represented by the preceding sign, Libra, that saw Satan and his followers cast out of heaven, right? Libra and Scorpio can also be understood as metaphors for our internal spiritual process. Destructive attitudes isolate us from good judgment and lead us to lose something precious as we cling to passionate needs that never actually satisfy us. That was brilliantly stated. And it's exactly why we're going to talk a whole lot about attachment and letting go and death. And I don't mean literal death, but I mean the little deaths that we experience throughout our lifetime, little losses and big losses, right? Scorpio is also sometimes represented by the phoenix, which is mythological. Did I say that right? Mythological. I did not say that right. The phoenix is a mythological bird of immortality and regeneration, right? It lives for several hundred years before bursting into flame, dying, and then regenerating from the ashes, which is another beautiful way to look at loss and death and our process here on earth as human beings, where we are frequently being reborn from our own ashes. How many times have you had these like metaphorical rebirths? Right? It's fascinating. It's fascinating to look back on our own lives historically and to look at the lives of those that we love and that we know well, like how far we've all come and the ways that we've evolved. And considering the phoenix is just a beautiful framework to look at that. How many times have you risen from the ashes? Maybe you feel like you are in the ashes right now. Know that you can rise from those ashes, and that in fact it's those ashes that will create the next great iteration of you. The phrase for Scorpio is I desire, which is like just juicy, like just sit into that. I encourage you to journal on that throughout the next month, like really remind ourselves and consider, what is it that you desire? Long term, short term, right here, right now. What do you desire? We cut ourselves off from our desires for a million reasons, and that's something to explore this season. Scorpio is passionate and raw and tapped into what it knows it wants and needs without shame. This is a season to continue conquering shame and to honor our deepest desires for what they are. What is it that you desire? Like, really, can you be shameless about it, shed any embarrassment or fear, and claim what it is you want? Don't be afraid to be a person who has desires, right? I think we often shut this part of ourselves down out of fear of not being able to obtain what we desire, fear of having too much, or fear of wanting too much, etc. There's all kinds of like weird sticky narratives that get in the way of our desires. Be a person who has desires. Be a person who has desires. What do you desire? Name it, claim it. This is the season. Let's go for it. let's go for it. That being said, this is also a season of letting go. So we have some balancing to do here. This is also a season of death and rebirth and regeneration. So we're going to talk about being a person who has desires and shamelessly claiming those desires, and also loosening up on our attachments a little bit. There's a beautiful middle ground to be found here where it's the space between being a person who's passionate and raw and holds their desires while also being a person who loosens their grip and welcomes in change and who knows that what is meant to be will be, and who knows that what is meant to come into our lives will come into our lives, and who knows our own, like, we want to be people who know our power and know our magic. The cliche of what you appreciate appreciates, where energy goes, or what is it? Where our thoughts go, energy flows. I don't know the other little tropey saying. But we want to use our desires to fuel our world and to fuel what we're seeking and claiming and bringing into our world, while also not like being too dependent upon that. Right? So let's talk a little bit about this idea of death and rebirth. From death and decay come the creation of and nurturing of new life. Letting go of the old to establish some sort of new creation. We have to let go of what we were in order to become what we are, what we want to be. Scorpio invites us to practice letting go of what we're attached to, which is great. Even when I say that out loud, even as I typed it before, as I say it out loud, there's a piece of my brain that's like, what? Let go. Let go of the things that are most important and most present on my mind. Like, let go. What does that mean? What does that look like? That's scary. We want to cling on and hold on to those things. In a lot of ways, our identity like depends on those things that we feel attached to, right? So, and letting go of our attachments, especially attachments of the brain and of the ego, allows us to reclaim what it is we are and what it is we want to be. This allows us to shed old lives and evolve into even better. The house of death and rebirth, the house of regeneration, is where we find our give and take with the world, with the universe. This is a big topic next week when I dive into the tarot, and we're talking about death, the death card and the tower card and the judgment card. We're going to really explore what this looks like. It's exciting, and it's hard work. It's hard work. So Scorpio, when it is empowered and effective and in alignment and like rocking its ship, Scorpio is passionate and intuitive, it's perceptive, it's fearless and mysterious, kind of sexy. It's interested in like the taboo things in life. It doesn't shy away from the taboo things in life. It's curious and persuasive. It's empathetic and imaginative and emotional, intuitive. I think I've said that a number of times. I'm excited to chat with you all about intuition and tapping into our intuition and honoring our intuition. It is magnetic and idealistic and determined and ambitious. Uh, and Scorpio is also very sensitive and very vulnerable, which I don't think we always really look at or consider when we're talking about Scorpio. The stereotype is that Scorpio is so mysterious and very sexy and sexual, and like kind of like forceful, kind of like a force to be reckoned with. Um, when we look at the scorpion, we see that scary tail, and they have little pinchers too, right? Do they? Yeah, they do, right? Do they use their pinchers? When we look at a scorpion, we don't see something very vulnerable usually, right? And it absolutely is. It doesn't go hunting, right? Like I said earlier, it hangs out and waits for prey. Um, and the scorpion is a tiny little guy. He could be crushed with my shoe. Um, both. It is all of that, all at the same time. Now, disempowered Scorpio, that is not really in alignment, not really using its magic. Disempowered Scorpio looks very possessive. It can be vindictive. This is a stereotype that is sometimes true that Scorpio, like, watch out, don't piss off a Scorpio, uh, because they're all about revenge, right? So just watch out for that in your own life. Like, where are you vindictive? Where might you be holding on to like resentment? Um, can you shift into a more empowered and in charge relationship with those things that cause you resentment or cause you to want to be vindictive? Scorpio can be very brooding and jealous. Again, like that possessiveness can create a lot of jealousy. Scorpio can be selfish and controlling, obstinate, secretive, domineering, and very protective. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity, similar to Cancer season, to really look at the ways that we protect ourselves and like what is underneath that. What is it that we are protecting, that we might be so fiercely protecting? Does it need that much protection, or can we kind of sink into some of that softness and the empathy and intuition and emotional side of Scorpio without feeling so um panicked to protect those sides of us? um if this is a topic that feels very like pertinent to you, go back and revisit Cancer season. I talk a lot about like our defense mechanisms and how we can manage our defense mechanisms and how we can move throughout the world in a way where we're able to defend ourselves without being like defensive, without being on the defensive all of the time. It's very important and very helpful. And these water seasons, these water signs are a great opportunity to really explore that, because for many of us, our watery natures are really going to come to the surface throughout the water seasons. So we'll likely have plenty of opportunity to explore that, just to explore that, to observe it, to explore it, to refine how we protect ourselves and how we engage with that side of us. So the challenge, as I kind of mentioned before, the challenge in Scorpio season, or what we're really invited to look at, is our capacity, our ability to let go of attachments, to let go of control, to maybe let go of any old resentment or you know, pain that we're holding on to let go and allow ourselves to be reborn. I feel like it's a necessary step. We have to divorce ourselves and let go of the old shit and let go of the things that our brains and our egos really attach us to and really panic to hold on to. We've got to loosen the grip and let go of that in order to be reborn and in order to step into what's next. Along with that, the challenge of the season is to really foster our passions and our desires and to be with our desires without the burden of attachment. Yeah, beware of like this pattern that happens. Passion turns into attachment, which can turn into jealousy, which can turn into resentment, which can turn into vindictiveness. It's a whole cycle. Passion turns into attachment, turns into jealousy, turns into resentment, turns into vindictiveness. So just notice that pattern. Just notice that pattern, how it might play out in your life. Where do you feel jealous? What's your relationship like with jealousy? When does it come up for you? And resentment. Um, Resentment is born from unmet expectations. So what are your check your expectations with all due respect. Check your expectations and evaluate like, ooh, am I way too attached to these expectations? And am I way too attached to a certain ideal or idea of what my life or what this part of my life or what this person's life should look like? And is that why I'm feeling resentment? Is because I'm attached to an expectation that isn't being met? Can I adjust my expectation? Or can I ask for that expectation to be met like better? Where does resentment come up for you? And how is it resentment and jealousy and vindictiveness? Those types of energies, where do those come up for you? And where are they related to attachment? And where is that related to passion? And can you kind of just tend to your passions and honor your passions and your desires? Remember, we're working on being people who are not afraid to claim our desires, to be people who have desires and who work toward their desires, but in a way that is empowered and, do I want to use the word detached? I'm also an Aquarius, so yes, I want to use the word detached, but I don't know if that's the most empowered and effective way to go about it either. You know what I'm saying? But how can you be a passionate person who has expectations and who has needs and who isn't afraid, who shamelessly asks for those needs to be met, but also isn't so attached to those things that you're miserable in the meantime, or that you're holding yourself back in some way when those things aren't being met? I hope that makes sense. That's the challenge of the season. So next week, like I said, we're going to talk a lot more about attachment and letting go, and the death card, the tower card, and the judgment card. I've got a lot for you next week. Also, I'm going to briefly touch on the suit of cups because the cups represent water and Scorpio is a water sign. So a lot coming at you next week. Then we're going to be talking about connecting with our intuition. Scorpio is known to be a pretty intuitive sign, and no, whether you're a Scorpio or not, doesn't matter. We all have intuition, and we all can foster more of a connection, more of a trusting and just tuned in connection with our intuition. I want to talk about how we can drop into the deepest parts of ourselves and feel comfortable with like those parts of ourselves, those vulnerable parts of ourselves, and like our guts. I want to talk about our guts, our intuition, and how we can really foster a healthy, helpful relationship with those parts of us. I'm excited for that. And then we're also going to be talking about more about passion and desire and shamelessness, which will be like a continuation of the discussion we had in Leo season, where Leo kind of introduces us to more shamelessness and allowing ourselves to play and shine without shame. Scorpio has us revisiting that. How can you embrace more shamelessness? How can we be a little more comfortable with the things that are considered taboo? Scorpio doesn't shy away from those things, right? Scorpio doesn't shy away from those things, and like, it's my desire for everyone, all of you, to be more unapologetic about like our human experience that we're having here. So that's our intro to Scorpio season. Those are the invitations of the season. That's what we're going to be diving into. I hope it feels good. It feels good for me. I'm super excited to bring this to you and to see not only like how the season is going to help me evolve as an individual, but I hope that you'll share that with me too. Like, I'd love to hear how Scorpio season is showing up for you, how the energy and the themes of Scorpio show up in your life, and how you're learning to use it to your benefit. That's what this is all about. That's what we're doing here. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope that this served and helped to kind of inspire and like get your wheels turning on how you want the next 4 weeks of your life to look and what you want to explore over the next 4 weeks of your life. Don't hesitate to let me know. Please drop a comment. Let me know what stands out to you. Where do you think your biggest challenge is going to be? And where do you think you're going to be able to like really like soar this season, really grab on and like use this? Tell me how this is showing up in your life. It really helps if you subscribe, drop a comment, leave a like. It means so much to me, and it really helps to as I'm like trying to build my channel. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will see you next week with an in-depth look at death. Oh, it's gonna be fun. Like, I promise, it's gonna be fun. This sounds like a total bummer, but it's gonna be great. Okay. Take really good care of yourself. I will see you next time. Bye.